Hey everyone, good morning and welcome into Attacking Third. It's a Tuesday episode and we're getting you set for NWSL because week 14 is just around the corner. Alongside Sandra Herrera and Jess McDonald, I'm Lisa Carlin. On today's menu, my friends, we are getting you caught up on all you need to know around NWSL, some of the summer signings, the transfers that have happened. Plus, we're going to revisit our preseason picks. See how terrible we did. So that will be a comedy segment that we do have in the show today. But we're happy to chat with you all. If you're with us live on YouTube, thanks for hanging with us. Like this video, subscribe, join the combo in the chat. Let us know what you're excited for in this second half of the season. If you're watching on Galazno and listening as a pod, hey, hi, hello. It is great to have you with us. Sandra, my friend, how are you? We're closing the chapter on the summer window of tournaments and reopening to NWSL. Are you ready, my friend?
I'm always ready. There's nothing better than a summer of soccer, and I love what we've been given so far. We're gonna wrap it up with a Copa America final coming up, but everything so far has been incredible, and I'm just glad we get to all hang out through it all. It's been a lot of fun.
It's been awesome. J Mac, how you hanging in there?
Oh my goodness. What an electrifying summer of women's football. I am in my happy place because it has just been beautiful soccer. And now just looking forward to the NWSL starting right back up. Let's go.
Starting right back out. We're getting some love for baby Olivia Rose here on the show today, saying that she needs a mini Casey Current jersey. Let's go. Have you, Jess, have you gotten mini jerseys yet for your kids that say McDonald on the back?
No, I only have all the clubs that I've played for. Jeremiah has. There's like mommy, mom, and all of his jerseys. So he has every jersey.
Makes sense.
Wait, I love that. Now we just need a couple more for the other little guys, but they're like so tiny. We need like onesies, baby onesies. Yeah. Where's the Attacking Third onesie, Mark?
I know.
The campaign starts now. Let's get it. Let's get it in.
I would love a jersey for each kid from each NWSL team. That'd be pretty cool.
Absolutely.
Sport and the whole league.
Yes. And then if we win an award here at Attacking Third, we all get Attacking Third jerseys and shirts because, guys, if you don't know, now you know. A3 is nominated for a People's Choice Award for Best Female Hosted Podcast. And there are only a few days left to vote. Voting goes until the end of July. We need your help. Go to podcastawards.com/app/sign-up. Scan the QR code on your screen right now. It takes less than a minute. You enter your email, select the drop-down menu for Best Female Hosted Podcast, pick Attacking Third, and click vote. Thank you. We appreciate all your love, all your support. You are always in our corner, and we cannot do this without you. So thank you. Let's make it to the finals. All right, guys, we enter the second half of the NWSL season this Friday in just a few days' time. So first half of the season was 13 match days. Every team played every single other team once. So now this is the beginning of the return fixtures in the NWSL. Sandra, when you look at big picture storylines for NWSL closing out the second half of the season, what stands out to you as something that we all have to pay attention to?
Oh my goodness. I wanted to hop on here, Lisa, and say the Shield race, of course. Like surely that's going to just heat up and get really spicy and just like really keep us on our toes. But I don't know if that actually happens because Kansas City Current is just too good. So I'm gonna say that they walk away with that Shield. And I think what's going to be a little bit more exciting is maybe who kind of jockeys for position in between there. So I want to see if a big break in the middle of the year affects this sort of super team that Kansas City Current has become. Because we've seen the greats do it. They are consistent, and consistency is key for the really elite teams in NWSL. So maybe if they come back and they stumble a little bit, it might raise some eyebrows and some question marks, but I just think they're really just too well organized and locked in for anyone to really kind of disrupt that, even if it comes in the form of a 4-week break.
Kansas City is at the top of the table, and they have an 8-point buffer between themselves in first place and Orlando Pride, which is in second. Kansas City, they already have 11 wins on the season, and they come into the second half of the season on a 6-match winning streak. They haven't dropped points since May 2nd against the Seattle Reign. They are also 6-0 at home. Kansas City is electric. I chatted with Lo yesterday on Live with Lo. Go listen to the episode if you didn't hear it yet. But not only did this summer break, did they do fitness tests and work harder than they do in season to prepare for the second half of the season, but they also had the inaugural Teal Rising Cup that Kansas City hosted, bringing in Chicago and also some Brazilian teams that they got to play against. And Lo talked about how these international tournaments, which Kansas City won, they lifted the trophy, but it was a chance for players that don't play as much to really see a lot of field time and get rotation. That means more depth for Kansas City when they don't even need more depth. They have enough. They actually need to share some of the wealth with the rest of the league. I don't think that there's going to be the slightest hint of a hiccup in what Kansas City does. I mean, they have just been so committed to the game plan, being on the same page in everything they've done. It looks like from front to end, Kansas City is just going to continue to run away with the Shield race at the top of the table.
And what I love about them this season in comparison to last, obviously they were amazing last season as well, but transitioning into this season, even defensively, I mean, things that were their weaknesses last season, you could see that they tweaked some things. So whatever Vlatko's doing with this roster, you can just tell everybody's bought in because they've had rotation within, their starting lineups a lot throughout this season, and everyone's been bought in. I mean, performance doesn't drop. It's equal. So the fact that they, have the depth that they already have, they're going to be a hard team to continue to beat throughout this season. So I think when playoffs come, that's when it's really going to get most interesting to see if the top dog, Kansas City Current, can hold on to that and win a championship this year.
Jess, I have a question for you. In this mid-season break that we get, it's a little unusual, right? Where, especially considering this summer, a lot of the U.S. internationals didn't play, right? It was only other nations, UEFA, Copa America, AFCON, that were competing. What do you have to be as a team for this to help you? And what do you have to be for it to hurt you? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, at what point in your season does a break like this help? And at what point does it hurt you as a team?
Yeah, I think if you take too long of a break as a team, if everyone gets too much rest and then trying to pick things back up where you left off, that's what will make the job much more difficult. So I love the fact that there was opportunity throughout this break. Honestly, I think this was the biggest break for the NWSL. It was very, very long, which is unusual, but I'm happy that, these teams in NWSL were able to play games against these international teams, which I think is a great test for NWSL players to see if they can, adjust to the way other teams play, because you go to a different country, you're playing against, a team in Brazil. Obviously, they're going to be very technical, very good in tight spaces, which is a different style of play than here in the States. And so I think, with these games, it definitely helps. I don't think it hurts at the end of the day. But as far as the U.S. women's national team, I think they needed a break too. You see that Emma Hayes left off some players off the roster last camp because they had just finished their season in Europe. And sometimes players just need a break, but, it's never too long of a break. People don't see behind the scenes what athletes do, the extra care and work that they put in. So obviously they're all still putting in work. So they'll be prepared for next camp.
Well, it's Kansas City at the top. We'll see how this break helps them, hurts them, changes Kansas City. The people on YouTube are saying that 88% of you have voted that Kansas City are going to win the Shield. It is their Shield to lose. 12% saying no, it's not. But who is going to contend? When we look at the top half of the table, only 4 points separate 5th place through 8th place. 5 points separate 4th through 8th. I mean, the top of the table is really tight once you get past Kansas City. Who's vulnerable at the top of the table that is currently in playoff positions, Jess, that maybe is has a bit of weight on them that could drop them below the playoff line.
Yeah, you know what? I would say my team to look at within that bubble is Portland. They haven't been consistent this season. You know, they're ranked 5th right now, but barely. Like you said, it's like 5 points between number 4 and 8 right now on the table. So at that point within that little bubble, I think that it's anybody's ball game. But I think for Portland, I think consistency is going to be key for them because they've dropped a lot of points when they didn't need to, but they also had some comeback games as well. But I think with those comeback games, if they can do that for 90 minutes going forward into each game, they will. I think they will succeed. But I think right now they're kind of in that bubble because you never know what you're going to get out of them this season.
Yeah, I think you don't look at that. I don't think you don't look at maybe 5 through 8 and look right at that exact line. And I would argue that going into this break for Gotham FC, it kind of felt like this is a group that could use this right now. They just need a quick second to just regroup, maybe even like use this time to try to get some players, some rest and relaxation in the march towards a good second half of the season. And, along the way, maybe take care of some business. They extended Turner Davidson, who's going to be out for the remainder of the season with an ACL, but she's going to go ahead and be offered that extension to 2027. But I think of other players, in Ella Stevens, someone who probably needed some time to just sort of take care of herself and make sure that this group can sort of go ahead and tackle that second half of the season. Maybe even someone in Roosevelt who just finally got back to getting minutes before this break came out. And not only did she get these minutes, but every single one that she was marking and ticking off, she was making an impact off of the bench for that team. And then we got to see her with the national team as well. Just Rose is exactly who she is. And so that is a player who can absolutely change things for Gotham. So while maybe I'm in agreement with Jess that Portland, it's tough to be a streaky team in NWSL because it could come back and haunt you. And I think if you're Gotham, the only way you want to do is look up. You don't want to look down, because if you look down, you're dropping out of that top because they're sitting at 8 right now. So I'm looking at Gotham to maybe try to make a run in this second half.
I'm not convinced by Gotham. I am not convinced, and I don't think that is unfair of me to say, considering how they started out this season and the first half of it. Now, you can never count them out with the talent and the depth that they have, but I'm just not convinced at what Gotham can do this year. And the fact that they sit at 8th, that could either be the kick in the butt that Gotham needs to jump them up the standings, to go on a bit of a streak and a bit of a tear, or other teams are going to have a little bit more confidence. Because when I look at this top half of the table, Kansas City at the top, then Orlando, San Diego, Washington, Portland, Seattle, Louisville, Gotham. Racing Louisville, I am flying high with this team. They're coming off a huge 2-0 win over Orlando. Jordan Bloomer has stepped into that goalkeeper position. She made 7 saves in that game against the Pride. They snapped Orlando's 5-game unbeaten run. I am just so excited for Louisville to come out and be this feisty, aggressive, ruthless team that they need to be to keep them at the top of the standings. This is the year for Racing Louisville. Meanwhile, for Seattle, they're fine. They're going to be absolutely fine. They are coming off 4 goals over Utah. G really found her stride at the end of that first half of the season, involved in pretty much every attacking movement. Maddie Dali has found a little bit more of her stride. Linby and Dolo is coming into her own with Seattle, not to mention the additions that Seattle has picked up over this summer that we are going to talk about. But when I look at the top half, I'm like, San Diego's fine. Washington's fine. Seattle, Louisville, fine. It's Portland and Gotham that I am concerned about. And for me, I am not convinced at what Gotham can do in the second half of the season. They're very vulnerable to me.
Yeah, I don't think that's unfair at all. But I'm not only just looking at the top half of this table here. I'm in agreement that Portland and Thorns are probably the trickier from 5 to 8. But if we're looking at those middle of the pack, maybe I'm also looking at the 9, 10, and 11. And I don't know if I look at North Carolina Courage, Bay FC, or Angel City right now as better than Racing Louisville, as better than Seattle. I don't even know if I would say that they're better than Portland right now, or even Gotham in terms of what they could put together potentially in the second half of the season.
Angel City, I've got some love for AC. I'm a little nervous about Alex Strauss, the new coach coming in, and I think the initial impact that he made hurt Angel City. But now look, they've had 6 weeks to practice, to figure out the system he wants to play, for understanding different roles of these players. Plus they've got the Icelandic international Jonsdottir coming into the mix, who can score goals and provide a different wrinkle in the attack. Angel City is a bottom half team for me coming into this second half of the season that's going to jump up to the top half of the standings.
I got to see it to believe it, at least. Just kind of like Racing Louisville a little bit. They went on that streak and we were kind of like, oh, we've seen this before. We know how this movie ends. Like, should we actually see it? Do we want a sequel of this? And I don't know. I'm kind of getting some eerie feelings like that about Angel City. I think at certain moments in their very early history, they've kind of come off as a team that want to pride themselves on being a second half team. But I don't know if that energy is there for me this year.
Is that even a good thing? If I'm a team, I want to be
exactly. That's my point. I
don't want to be I'm a second half team.
That's my point. There we go.
I absolutely agree with both of you. For LA and Louisville, they've always been those bubble teams as well. Yeah. They give you high hopes and they start doing things for a couple games and then they drop off the next few games. You're like, hold on, what happened to that game against the Courage? Where's that fire? You know what I mean? So I'm not too convinced with Louisville or LA as well. And Bay FC is in there too. Same with Courage. I just don't see enough from those clubs this season. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
We've made predictions before. Watch out.
Absolutely. Yes, give me some insight on North Carolina this year, because they are a little streaky and they've dealt with trying to change their formation at the start of the season. That now they've done it. What's it going to take for North Carolina in the second half of the season to jump up and become a playoff team?
You know what? They are lacking a lot of goals this season. They have not created enough chances in the final third. They signed Jaden Shaw, before this season started, thinking she was going to be, really the key piece, but it's been the polar opposite for them. So at the end of the day, I know that they've been missing just a big dog 9. I mean, Manaka came in and obviously she's been a huge difference maker for the Courage. But I don't think it's enough. She's not a big dog 9. No, that's what I'm saying. She did a little something, but she's not a big dog 9, and that's exactly what they're missing. So that's all it is. It's final third, and being able to execute and score more goals this season. So just, yeah, it's weird to say that they have such great possession, but just not in the final third. They're just not finishing anything.
Yeah, that's the biggest downfall, I think, for North Carolina. They actually remind me kind of a Portland team in where they're super streaky, but doing opposite things well. Portland somehow scores and finds ways to get the ball in the back of the net, but I don't understand how. Meanwhile, North Carolina does everything so well outside of the 18-yard box, their attacking 18-yard box. They just can't score. It's killing me.
Yeah. I don't know if I think it's a good team to tee up, Jess about, and I'm not in disagreement with whatever. Because North Carolina is literally one of those teams that are just outside of the playoff line, and yet they're just not at the top of our minds as far as a team that can make that leap into the upper half.
No, they're not. I mean, North Carolina, they're in 18 points, tied with Gotham. Gotham is just ahead of North Carolina in a playoff spot, the final one in 8th position on goal differential. Man, guys, this table is tight. Yeah. It is a tight way to start the second half of the NWSL season. There were a lot of trades, a lot of transfers. The summer window was active in the NWSL. We're going to get you caught up on everything that happened and what we can expect from some of these new players joining the league. Stick with us. We'll be right back. Hey, welcome back to Attacking Third. NWSL summer signings transfer window has been open, and there's been a lot of moves. A lot has happened. We have a whole summer transfer tracker that we get to look through and kind of take a gander at what's going to happen. But over the summer, Sandra, as you were taking in all of these moves that happened, who do you think is going to have the biggest impact? Which player or team did you kind of circle and star saying, yeah, this is the team that has done a lot this summer?
Oh my goodness. I'm so excited to see what this second half version of Seattle Reign looks like. They are not only putting things together to make sure that they are just nestled within that top half of the table, but some of their additions and the way they activated in their summer window here, I think gives a little bit of a tipping of the scales here. They absolutely know what's in front of them. The second half of an NWSL season is kind of where it all starts for some teams. And I think if you are one of those 5, 6, 7, or 8 spots on the table, this is where you, at the very least, bare minimum, try to separate yourselves a little bit to make sure that you are gunning for the postseason. And I don't know if there has been a team through this summer window that had made a bigger splash of a signing than when they got the big fish and me official. Everybody is excited about it, including us. I love that we were able to chat with her for a bit on Attacking Third. I mean, this is a player who really is just in the early phases of her career. And yet anytime you sit down, chat, or have a moment to speak with me official, you walk away leaving, gosh, that's a gamer right there. And I mean, this is a player that I remember getting early national team minutes when she played in Chicago during Megan Rapinoe's farewell game. And that was a feeling that I walked away with from this player. And I'm just like, gosh, like this player is really just an absolute gamer. She's a killer with the instinct when she gets into the match. And so not only did they acquire this player, it's on a multi-year deal. So there is an intention to build here with me official. And it's not just me official, it's the return of Sofia Huerta for me on this team, which is massive. It is huge, huge, huge. This is a player that has always been a key component of the Seattle Reign. And the fact that she's going to come back to a team still led by Laura Harvey, there's already the familiarity there, that is sitting in a good position to make an impact. I think her addition is going to be massive for the Reign as well.
Sofia Huerta's return comes at a perfect tactical time where Seattle Reign needs someone like Huerta as a wide player that can play in this hybrid 3-5-2 kind of system. It's a 3-4-3 at times. It's a 5-back at times that Laura Harvey is doing. I mean, Huerta will slot in seamlessly into one of those outside fullback, wingback positions where she can really showcase her skills on both sides of the ball that Seattle has been missing in that position. It's a player that wants the ball at her feet in the attack, can go 1v1, drive end line, cut inside, whip insane crosses on. And now Huerta has Fischel and Biondolo in the box that she can find services for. Plus, on the other side of the ball, defensively, Huerta's a great defender, 1v1. I mean, she's quick. She has great pace to get up and down. She's got good positioning as well. I think this is going to be a boost defensively that Seattle needs. And then on the assist side of things, because Huerta knows how to get those balls in. And if I'm a player like that, I mean, Jess, as leading assister, tied for the leading assister in the NWSL, how much easier it makes your job as someone serving balls in when you have players like Fischel and Biondolo that are just so hungry to get on the end of crosses. It makes a difference in your game.
It makes such a huge difference. And with these players coming in and hopefully meshing very well with one another, I think that they're going to be a very dominant force in the final third. And that's because Sof Huerta loves to get in line serving balls. And obviously we have Fischel and Biondolo on the end of that. Oh my goodness. And then not forget, Canadian international Jordan Huitema, coming in with her height. So I think when it comes to services into the box, Sof Huerta is going to whip them in. And, she's at the assist leading table for a reason. Her and Lynn both. So you never know. They might be just serving each other going into, the season. And I'm excited to see that. They're going to be scary in the final third moving forward throughout the season.
I was
gonna be by design too. Like I think that's one of the benefits in getting a player like Huerta back. It's like you're adding to your roster, but it's a player who's been there before and been through it and knows what it's like to make those kinds of second half pushes with a Seattle ranked team.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when Laura Harvey herself came back to NWSL after being an assistant coach with the women's national team, and they went on this second half run. There was a match that Huerta had like 143 something touches during this game. I'm going to go back and match that. But it was like 143. I remember the number because I was like bugging out at the number. I was like, you kidding me? And Harvey was asked about it in post game and was like, yeah, that's by design. Like we want Sof Huerta getting those touches. So it's going to be something to keep an eye on for sure.
Yeah, new look Seattle, how they come out. It'll be one of their biggest tests to start the second half of the season going up against Angel City. As I'm watching Washington Spirit, we have been teased and taunted with a Trinity Rodman potential return. She's been out dealing with her back and spine injury, trying to recover, and stepped away early in this season saying, I'm going to take a break and see if I can get back. She's now back in DC training with the Spirit, plus the Italian, Sofia Cantore, is coming over from Juventus, the first Italian to play in the NWSL. And now we also said goodbye to Jonah Heraldez, and we get Adrian Gonzalez as the head coach for Washington Spirit. To me, it is a changing of the guard, and the continued attacking threats that Washington Spirit brings into the mix are, guys, it's scary. It's really scary to think about what Washington can do, because they've got it on lock in the back with Kingsbury, Tara McKeown, Rebecca Bernal. The defensive structure is there. And all Washington keeps doing is providing more weapons and creativity. Sofia Cantore, with her pace, her ability to score in a variety of ways that we didn't really get to see on display at this Euros with Italy, but she did so much work off the ball defensively, combining and playing well. I'm excited to see what Washington Spirit can do once they add in a couple more of these pieces and Rodman gets back into pace. It's going to be a second half surge for Washington when they're already towards the top of the standings.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting for Washington with, this new addition from Italy coming in. I think that they have such an incredible style of play, and that starts from the back. When you see Bernal getting on the ball, breaking lines, I think there are some other key pieces that need to be filled in. Ashley Hatch just announced her pregnancy, so we're going to see who's going to fill into that spot, because she's been incredible this season for Washington Spirit. And I think that things will come together for them. I think they're still going to be such a great team to play up against, because we can't leave out the fact that Casey Kruger is back, Croy Bethune is back, so Hal Hirschfeld is back. And I think that they have enough experience to keep squeaking on by with points for the duration of this season. And then when Trinity's back, that's just going to be cherry on top for them.
Oh, I think they might squeak. We definitely talked about 5, 6, 7, and 8, but we didn't really talk about 1, 2, 3, and 4. And Washington Spirit is sitting right at number 4. And I've got some, I'm not even gonna say concerns. I've got some worries, because we're gonna revisit these predictions, and I've got Washington Spirit on a few of them. So I want them to make a run. I want people to know that pro Spirit here. So that's why I'm a little nervous going into this second half. I think it's going to benefit them that Gonzalez is going to be there as coach. This is again, we're talking about familiarity with Huerta in the rain. Gonzalez is going to be there for the Spirit to carry them through as far as on the sideline in terms of what they want to do on the pitch. But we have also seen a lot of moments where maybe new additions need some time to get acclimated to teams. We don't know how Sofia Cantore is going to perform with the Spirit off of a Euros in NWSL play. What's that going to look like? Hopefully we get to find out sooner rather than later. How is Lacey Santos going to look with the Spirit coming off of Copa America, as Colombia's had a long stretch in that tournament. How much rest is she going to need coming forward? And I'm glad that you mentioned Ashley Hatch, who I think has been probably the most important player for the Spirit in 2025. And now they're going to have to figure out a way. And that's been part of the Spirit's narrative this year, right? They're going to have to figure out a way. So hopefully Trinity Rodman is part of that equation in some capacity.
It makes their job a little bit easier when they try to figure out a way with Rodman in the mix.
It could be quite the storyline if this player, who has a very concerning and very tricky back injury, somehow miraculously goes on an incredible run. So I think there's almost too much predicated on these what ifs that make it difficult to kind of predict which way they're going to sway. So I think because there's so many questions that we don't have answers to quite yet, I think they're sitting in a position that could be in danger for them on the table.
Okay, couple things there. Obviously, I want Rodman back just
100%.
Because I miss watching her play.
Of
but
course.
The other part of me is like, just take the rest of the year and get 100% healthy. Like, it is not worth it for the long-term health of this player. Guys, she is so young. There is so much ceiling left for her to play. And if she, well, I don't know the status. I'm not her physio. I'm not checking out her back every day, but I am like really a heart split in two between like my head and my heart, of like my heart just wants her back on the pitch, doing the trin spin, like the celebrations, getting into fights with people. And my head is like, just take it easy, Trin. Yeah. You also mentioned Sofia Cantore, how she can get into this, the passion and the physicality that I saw Italy play with during this Euros. I think she's going to be fine. You also have to look at the roster makeup that Washington Spirit has. And there's a lot of internationals on this roster, a lot of first-year players in DC as well. I think that the group that surrounds Cantore off the pitch is going to help her make that transition a lot smoother than maybe if she went to a different team that is made up of a lot of NWSL-centric players. I think having that camaraderie off the pitch where she can kind of lean on some of these players, hey, how do we do this, right? Esme Morgan coming off of just winning the Euros with England, she can saddle up next to her in the training room and say, how do we do this? How do we get back on the same page and playing club soccer? What can I expect from this league that coming from Europe, maybe I don't know what is there. So to have that off the pitch, I think is going to help Cantore out a lot in the mix with Washington.
I want to see it. I want to see
Cantore make a splash, because then maybe we'll get some more Italians.
Yeah,
there you go. Let's go.
Yes.
After watching Italy just destroy during this Euros and play so passionately and advance to a semifinal, I want more Italians in the NWSL. There are a couple other players I was watching this summer across many different tournaments, and I was like, guys, can we bring them to NWSL so I can watch them every week? I had a couple starred and circled, but Jess, you're nodding your head. Who did you have that you saw this summer that you're like, can we get you in America to play?
Oh, y'all, I'm over here looking at Michelle Angemain. I know it's not possible, obviously, because she just signed. She just had her new signing, but I'm like, can we just squeak her on over here, please? I basically want like every Italian here. I would love all of them here. I love their style of play, how tenacious they play. And you know what? I would say if I were to pick an Italian player to come to NWSL, Caruso also caught my eye as well. I loved her in the final third. I loved her getting behind the ball. But what she did in the first game to get their win 3-0, or excuse me, with 3 points, she had the lone goal. I mean, she was hitting these strikes from 20, 30 yards out. And I'm talking like on frame, off the crossbar, and one eventually went in the back of the net. I love the style of play from Caruso. So she's definitely another one who caught my eye throughout the Euros.
Are we just sticking to Italians, or we're just like broadening that to like any European?
Whatever you want, Sandra. Whoever you want across Copa, across WAFCON, across Euros. Who are you like, come on, my Chicago team needs you.
Somebody, literally, please just come on through. No, I don't know. You know, I'm only asking because I heard Ajimang. So I'm like, oh, are we just like casting a wide net here? You look, they're England are the winners, right, for a reason. And I would argue that they had some pretty good young talent there that they actually didn't tap a whole lot into. I mean, Ajimang was doing incredible things, ends up winning, best young player of the tournament. But I also look at like a Grace Clinton. I know that would be like, there would have to be some sort of crazy like loan situation or transfer, like like a younger like Lioness. I would love to see, stateside in NWSL.
I don't know how realistic that is. I mean,
I want to be realistic. This didn't start with realistic. We started with who do you want to see?
My wish list is realistic because I like to actually see things come true. And Norway, although they had an underwhelming tournament, Signe Gopset, the 20-year-old forward, was so impressive. She was gritty. She plays for Brann right now, but the way that she carried herself and carried Norway throughout the Euros tournament, it involved in every single attacking moment, off the bench making an impact, getting starts towards the end of the tournament. She can play a little bit deeper in the midfield. You could play her as a winger up top. I think Gopset would be a really big addition to the NWSL. Also, the Belgian striker who plays for FC Nantes, Mariam Taloba, that's a young player that could get some experience in the NWSL and just add something different to the game. The same way we encourage and we want Americans to go play overseas, whether it's in France or in the WSL or anywhere that they go in Spain, like they are going to add different tactical and technical tools to their toolbox. I think a lot of that could be said for some of these European players that compete in UEFA with Norway and with Belgium. Those are two that I'm like, I want you here in the NWSL.
We'll see. It would take some work either way. It doesn't matter who it is.
Anyone's welcome. You guys are all welcome. Just
arms are
come
open.
on.
Anyone's welcome. Before we close out this summer signing segment, I do just want to give a little bit of love to Boston Legacy because they are NWSL team number 15 set to join the league in 2026. And they've had a busy summer as well. They've signed some big players, leaning a little defensive as well. I think that the first signings of clubs, inaugural seasons, is very telling as to how they want to set up their team. So they have signed Annie Karches from SC Freiburg, who is actually currently playing with Club America, as their first signing. That's a midfielder. They've also signed forward Assisat Traore, who is the first player in the NWSL from Mali. They've signed defender Emerson Elgin, who is a UNC player. She was a champion there. She actually signed with Gotham earlier this season as an injury replacement player, but now she's set to go to Boston. And also center back Laurel Ansbrow from Fort Lauderdale United. So a couple defenders, a defensive midfielder, and then a forward. Boston Legacy, they are bulking up their roster as they get set for 2026. Guys, I can't wait till we have to do predictions for that year. We'll have to get Denver coming in and Boston coming in. Maybe they'll be more accurate than our 2025 predictions because we struggled this year. We're going to take a look back at what we predicted at the start of the 2025 NWSL season and see how wrong we actually were. Stick with us. Hey, welcome back to Attacking Third. At the start of 2025, during the preseason, Attacking Third crew, all of us here, the editorial team as well with Sandra, did our preseason predictions. So we did everything from MVP, Defender of the Year, to Comeback Player of the Year, to Shield winner and Ultimate Champion. Mine are terrible. Just a little spoiler alert, but we're going to cross-check all of ours. Jess, I'm going to start with you. Based on some of your preseason picks that you did, what is one pick that you're like, absolutely, I need to change this? Who are you like, this was so wrong, I've got to redo this one?
I mean, I spoke about this beforehand, and my midfielder of the year was Jaden Shaw. She just hasn't shown up for her courage this season. Y'all, I'm literally in tears. Like, my eyes are watery right now because I chuckle at myself. My predictions are just so off. But that was my midfielder of the year, and that was just a big blow.
Yeah,
That was my biggest one. Yeah.
that's a pretty rough one. She also hasn't played that much. I don't think so much can be
Yeah.
done for Jaden Shaw. She's also playing higher up the pitch. Like, there's a lot of changes. So now that you've seen the first half of the season, every team play against every other team in the NWSL, is there another midfielder that you would like to do a little swap about?
Ooh, a midfielder. You just put me on the spot. Okay. I will probably have to go with Dali from San Diego Wave.
That's a really
My goodness, the consistency, just her chef's kiss of a free kick going into the back of the net. I can just watch on repeat. I can watch the way that she plays, how just intelligent she is on and off the ball. I watch her movement sometimes when I'm watching their games, and I'm like, look at her just with her soccer knowledge, and I love the experience that she brings to the game and her full-on understanding of it. Yeah, I will have to switch it to Dali because she's just one of a kind in this season in the NWSL.
Kenza Dali is a really good shout. And after not being called in for the French national team for the Euros, I expect her just to go on a tear, go on an absolute revenge tour, which is pretty impressive considering she already raised the bar and set the standard pretty high in the first half of the season. When I look through my predictions, I could change about 5 of them. I don't even know which one I want to pick. My coach of the year was Geralda's. That didn't work out. Comeback player of the year, Diana Ordonez. Not even in the league anymore. That's, to me, this is like pretty rough of what I did here. But my coach of the year is one that I'm like, he's not even here anymore. He's already gone. And I've been really impressed with Vlatko Andonovski. It's easy to say that when you're halfway through a season and Kansas City is at the top of the table and separating themselves. I think that Jonas Edeval at San Diego could be a contender for that. But to me, Vlatko Andonovski has done such a good job of getting his team on the same page, tightening up defensively, going through adversity. And it's hard to go back-to-back years where you are at the top of the table and you are the team that everyone is chasing. And Andonovski has done that with Kansas City. So that's my one big swap I wish I could make of coach of the year. But I mean, guys, a lot of mine are just wrong.
Yeah, tough. I've got a few tough ones in mine as well. I think the biggest one is right there with you, bud, in the coach of the year. Talk about not only just like completely missing the mark, but just like also just layers of disappointment in that as well. It's just like not even here in the league anymore. Great. And it's like very easy to like take a look at what's in front of us and be like, okay, well, obviously Andonovski is sitting in a pretty good position to go ahead and make a run to be a finalist for a coach of the year. But there's also going to be competition in that. There's always 3 finalists within that. So I think, yes, Jonas Edeval as well, but who could potentially be that third? And, you know, if Racing Louisville goes ahead and does the whole thing, I think we absolutely have to consider Bev
What is
Yanez
the whole
as well.
thing? Making playoffs?
Oh, making playoffs, because there's no way they're going to do anything else. That is the goal. Okay. The chat even answered the poll, Lisa. It was a landslide. What was it? 80-something% to like 10-ish% that it's the Shield is going to belong to. So I think if everyone feels like Casey's got that potentially in the bag, what is left? What is left is making the playoffs and potentially winning a championship, you know, by means of being in the postseason. So if they do the thing and make the postseason finally, I think you absolutely have to take a look at Bev Yanez as maybe being a finalist for that category. But as far as actual winner, it's definitely going to be Giraldes, and that means it could possibly be Vlatko Andonovski. I feel somewhat comfortable in some of my other picks though. Like, you know, as far as like MVP, I think Schwinga still got a pretty good shot, you know, for that. Golden Boot has sometimes gone the way of MVP in this league when it goes to voting. But I think if I'm going to we're looking at like ones to dunk on ourselves and laugh about and maybe do a little bit of comedy. I was very high on Casey Murphy making a run for goalkeeper of the year, and I don't think that that's happening. There's some good goalkeepers in front of her doing some good things in this one. If I had to change it, I'd maybe go ahead and maybe go back to Anna Morehouse. I think that like Orlando Pride, even though there's some points off her, are still doing some good things with Anna Morehouse. I think she looks like a better goalkeeper than she did last year. Obviously, Claudia Dickey could be a good option there as
Claudia
well.
Dickey's a good shout. That's a really good shout for goalkeeper.
Yes, yeah. I actually feel like goalkeeper of the year is, I don't want to say it's pretty wide open. I'm just going to say that there's a good amount of candidates this year. It's going to be interesting to see how it boils down to, because I think similarly to like coach of the year, there's only 3 candidates for that versus some other ones there's like 5 candidates. So it'll be interesting to see how that boils down.
Yeah, I think like rookie of the year, there's a lot of candidates for that one. My other, that was comeback player of the year, Diana Ordonez, who is no longer in the NWSL. I think Alyssa Thompson is a good shout for that one, because she's been a player that has found her a second gear. We'll see what happens under Angel City's head coach Alex Strauss in the second half of the season. But hey guys, these predictions are for fun. Let us know your prediction that you made at the start of the season that you think is going to go all the way, especially like Shield winner, champion. We all checked out on Kansas City as Shield winner, but who's going to win the championship? Let us know in the comments, tweet at us, all the things. We have to do a really big fun thing right now on Attacking Third. We are welcoming in a special guest who is in England celebrating with the Lionesses as they have brought home their Euro trophy back-to-back years. CBS sports correspondent and writer with us, James Benge, in the house. James, welcome into Attacking Third, my friend. How are you, James?
Hey, I'm very well. Thanks for having me, guys. How you doing?
I mean, I'm good, James. I like that you're in your house. I don't know where you are. It looks very bougie. I'm disappointed you're not on the streets celebrating with a pint. I thought that's how you were joining us live on A3. What's up?
I would have liked to. The party has sort of slowly died down, I think. Although, like, even as I was sort of walking home from it, I was sort of seeing fans. I live like 5 tube stops from Green Park, which is the nearest station, and right along the route, you're seeing people coming back. And what a lovely day today has been. Like beautiful scenes along the mile, like a real family event, and capped off with Burna Boy as well. It was just incredible. And I know, as the girls were saying, as they took to the sort of stage outside Buckingham Palace, I mean, this was the sort of thing you couldn't have imagined. I mean, maybe even 3 or 4 years ago, let alone 20 years ago. Just look at that. I mean, like the most English British place people could think of, and it's bedecked with celebrations for England winning the Euros.
I love it.
Cool. Go ahead.
That was going to be my question, Benge. I was going to say, did you also lose your mind at Burna Boy, or was it losing your mind at the very Dutch Sarina Wiegman, like losing her mind to Burna Boy? I thought that was a nice touch.
I mean, like, look, I've been with Burna Boy right the way since African Giant. Like, I'm a Burna Boy fan. I assume, though, that like the Burna Boy community didn't like extend to 55-year-old former PE teachers. And then there's a moment on the clip where like she is sort of gesturing to the crowd, like sing along, and the crowd are clearly like, "Look, Sarina, you know these words much better than we do. You're in charge here." Like it was such a I feel like she deserved that treat there so much. Like what she has done for like England and like creating that mentality. It was the only thing that was missing before she took over. So yeah, she deserves all the flowers, all the free concerts she wants. I don't know if we can sort of book out Wembley Stadium for her to get a private Burna Boy gig. That seems fair to me.
That would be pretty solid. Sarina Wiegman is a coach that has broken records as just a manager, not men's, not women's, just making it to a final in 5 consecutive international tournaments. And now she has won 3 straight Euros. I mean, that is impressive. Throughout this tournament, we heard a lot of fans chanting just through the speakers in Switzerland. Sarina, how many tequila Sarina chants did you hear at the parade today?
Oh man, I was going deaf from them. But I mean, what was so like beautiful about that parade is I almost felt like there were fans out for everyone. You saw so many like club shirts, so many shirts with Toon, Russo, Williamson, banners as well, like celebrating guys like Michelle Ajamang and Jess Carter, which was lovely because I know, and you guys will know this better than me, that Jess Carter had to miss the celebrations. But like one of the things that struck me over these 3 years is that the English public have kind of built this bond and this connection with the team. It's not just that sort of we know who they are as players, but we like know who they are as people now. Like everyone in this country wants to be friends with Chloe Kelly. She seems like the ultimate laugh. Leah Williamson is, I think it's probably fair to say now, the greatest English footballer in terms of success on the international stage, at winning a Champions League as well. Like guys like Russo and Toon have their own podcast. Like especially in the last 3 years since that first Euros, I think there's just been such a connection built that kind of this cycle, no one's had to like justify women's football. Like no one's had to explain why it's important. It's not even a debate anymore. And that's why I have 65,000 people on the Mall on a day when they're all supposed to be at work. It should be said, we all wanted our bank holiday. Our Prime Minister, when he was in opposition, he said, we need a bank holiday for this. We all wanted one, didn't get one. But people were still there to celebrate it. And I think there's such a bond between the people more than just the players as with this team now, and they're going to be legends forever.
I was going to say, but to your point, Benge, like getting one is so hard. Getting two and then getting two consecutively is out of this world. And they've obviously etched their names in not just English history, but footballing history. What's next in your estimation for this Lionesses squad in their era?
I mean, I saw your power rankings, Sandra, and I'm pretty pleased with second, to be honest, after some of the performances. But you did sort of see on the stage Leah Williamson saying the World Cup's next, and the World Cup sort of has to be next. But the what's next also shouldn't sort of diminish like the what's happened in all of English senior football history, men's and women's. No team had won a competition outside England. It's quite hard to do. What's next for them, whatever happens, legendary status. People will always remember. I think this has been such a particular period as well. Like 2022 was the summer we came out of COVID and we really got to enjoy something incredibly special. And then 2025, it was like this great drama series where they kept sort of turning it around, kept surprising you. And it still was a surprise right the way through to the end, right the way through till, their technique held up where Spanish technique from the penalty spot didn't. I don't see why this team couldn't go and win the World Cup. But like right now, I'm just like, you do whatever you need to do. You guys are the greatest English football team ever. Simple as that.
They need to make it a little easier on themselves to win the World
Please.
Cup. It was like
I was on my vacation before the final. So sort of 1 a.m. in Greece, sort of trying to find a VPN that worked to try and watch the last few minutes of the Italy game. I'd really like it if next time we can just get to bed at normal time without our adrenaline pumping because they put us through the ringer again.
Score first at one point. James, I don't know. Have you heard this stat? I just pulled it up. So England played 360 minutes of regulation knockout football. They led for just one.
Yeah.
One.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
Yeah, that's right.
They were behind for 2 hours and 53 minutes. That is unheard of. Unheard of. I mean, it's talk about stress. I was in it for the good football and for the exciting late drama, but I think it would do a lot of good if they could just score first, start on the front foot, not have to wait until the final minutes of the game or regulation or of penalties to get that job done. But as you said, it doesn't matter now. The celebrations are happening.
Yep.
Yeah, loved it. Loved every minute. And, if they're going to put us through the ringer, at least they reward us in style.
At least they get the win. James, thanks for hanging with us. Thanks for going to the parade and then bringing it on Attacking Third to tell us all about it today. Congrats on the dub too. Go celebrate. Take a nap after all the celebrations too.
Thank you. We don't get to celebrate many football triumphs, so I think I can now go to the pub. I think.
Enjoy,
Yes,
buddy.
you deserve it, James. You deserve it. Thanks.
Thank you.
So much.
Thank you.
All right, guys, that does it for us for our A3 today. That was pretty cool. I'm glad we got James Benge on here. He's a good guy. He joins Morning Footy, CBS Sports all the time, and now we finally got him on A3. That does it for our A3 episode today. We will be back on Thursday previewing NWSL weekend. We're going to talk a little Copa America final as well and everything that's happening there. That'll be Sandra McCall and Jen Beatty on the show later this week. Guys, have a great weekend and a great week, and we'll see you in a couple days. Don't forget to vote for Attacking Third for Podcast Awards, Best Female Hosted Podcast. Use the QR code and the link in the description and vote for A3. For Sandra, Jess, Olivia Rose, Mark, I'm Lisa, and this was Attacking Third.